That is quite a piece of history that's sitting right here allowed.
Oh, that it is, and we've seen a little bit of this boat earlier on during the H1 Unlimited qualifying, taking a spin midway through it. We know this boat can move.
Yeah, watch David up here. See what he does. He's got the other three boats coming down the front straightaway. David's starting to leg it out a little bit. I thought he might. He's going to run up and just catch him. But this is going to be something special. Michael McDonald, take him away. You got three right in your lap.
And it's a parade lap as they come over the front stretch. Paying back on the inside. Squire Shop lane 2. The Blue Blaster in lane number 3. And look at David Williams at the top end of the course in that Budweiser at the exit pin of turn number 4 onto the front stretch. He is trying to reel them all in, and they're kind of waiting for him.
That's exactly what they're doing, Michael. They're waiting for him. He's also showing us a 109 mile an hour. Now as he pulls up alongside. You were talking about a photo op. Now the other three boats see him to their right and on the outside. Lane number 1 is the Pan Pack. Lane number 2, the Squire Shop. Lane number 3, the Atlas Van Lines. Lane number 4, and on the outside, the Griffin Budweiser. Final heat time of the 1981 Columbia Cup. Those 4 boats were all in it. Look at David Williams, Derek. He's right out against the outside course markers in that Griffin Bud.
Oh, that is. Talk about living life right on the edge. He's got to be within maybe 3 feet of that buoy, trying to take it now on the outside as we got some racers here jockeying for position. Looks like some movement in the middle there, lanes.
Wow. Absolutely incredible on the Griggs backstretch.
Takes your breath away, doesn't it?
What an amazing sight.
Welcome to the time warp almost 40 years ago.
Pan Pack, Squire, Atlas, Budweiser.
41 years, actually.
You could throw a blanket over them. They are deck to deck to deck to deck as they come up into Shell Sun Market, turn number 3 at the top end of the course.
White flag.
Be a beautiful sight to see them as they come around the apex into White's Finished Furniture, turn number 4. Our Buffalo brother friends up at turn number 4 too.
Get your cameras ready.
And there it is. There's your photo. That and the upside down Red Bull helicopter. Get the cameras out as they come to the John Mosteller Memorial start finish line. Pay and Pack, Squire, Atlas, Bud.
Just something special here as these 4 come down. Looking at a white flag down here in the lower corner. And he got it. Can't miss the Squire Shop in that lane too with that cathedral arched wing that they've got. The silhouette is just so much different. Here's David Williams. He's painting the buoys, but he's painting the outside course markers. He's giving those guys just a ton of room. And you say, boy, what a sight for the eyes. It's not bad for the ears either.
Yeah, right now as they turn Tire Factory turn number 2, it looks like vying along with Atlas for that top spot, cutting it on the inside. Squire at number 2, and then in that inside lane, our first model Pan Pack slowing down a little bit. I mean, these dash races are really short, guys, and so this backstretch here, I mean, this is it. If somebody's going to make a move, they need to surge ahead now.
Oh, the move on the inside. Look at the Pan Pack gaining on the Atlas. Pan Pack is going to force the tempo up the Griggs Ace Hardware backstretch as they get ready to dive into Shell Sun Market turn number 3.
I just don't think you can drive the competitive nature of the driver from them completely.
No doubt.
Oh yeah, is that what you got? Well, watch this.
David Williams on the outside is getting a little boat speed. Boy, for our Buffalo Brothers fans over there in turn number 4,
that's a picture.
Cameras are out.
That's a picture.
Coming right at you.
Right at you. Ah, so nice.
All right, bring them down the front stretch to the Mosteller Memorial start finish line. Who's going to take the checkered flag? Pan Pack, Squire, Atlas, Bud. Looks like Atlas with a little surge. And the Atlas.
The Atlas.
Budweiser, Pan Pack, and Squire Shop.
You could tell Kip gave the Atlas a little squirt when
Yep.
he came off the corner, and all of a sudden the Rooster tail jumped up a little bit on that boat in lane 3. And
What fun.
yeah, what fun. And we heard David Williams talking earlier that he was going to go out and play with their toys on the river, and they just did. And we're going to see that a number of more times. But boy, here they come right underneath me. But David is coming off the race course, and you'll see Chip go with him, or excuse me, you'll see Kip Brown go with him, the other 2 boats. And indeed, Mr. Hanauer is going to head off the race course, and now they're all going to go. Here goes the pan pack. So all 4 boats will give each other plenty of room and head to that big right-hand sweeping turn that you were talking about,
Yes,
Michael.
turn number 5 from Summit Funding.
There you go.
Just a note for all those that are in the river, it is now time to get to the shoreline, please. All swimmers, all waders, we need you up out of the water on the shoreline as the hydroplanes come out of the pits, and now we can start to see, with the blue bridge in the backdrop, the Budweiser Griffin. David Williams.
Yeah, right behind him is the Payday Candy Bars. We talked about it back in the day, the pan pack from 1973, the Winged Wonder. I tell you what, when I was a kid, Miss Bardall was my favorite boat, but when that thing hit the water, that white and orange pan pack with that wing, that was a love affair with me and a hydroplane. Here comes Bill Muncie's Atlas Van Lines is away from the dock. Chip Hanauer behind the wheel, driving in his Atlas Van Lines helmet.
And I don't know, are you watching David Williams in the Budweiser? It looks like he was kind of laboring to get up on plane. Now he's starting to get a little boat speed as he heads to Tire Factory turn number 2.
I think what he's doing, Michael, I think what he's doing is just waiting. He's waiting for these guys, and here comes the Squire. They want them to all hook up and come together. We got the Squire Shop came away, and then it died. So he'll get that one lit, but I think that's what David was doing, was just kind of hanging around waiting.
And again, swimmers, waders, we need you out of the river up on the shore, please. As the boats come up the backstretch, Pay and Pack on the inside, Budweiser Griffin on the outside. That Pasco shoreline definitely has filled in.
Looking good, Pasco. Get the cameras out.
Got a Squire Shop.
So the Squire Shop is back out, and we start to see it. Oh, and the Atlas jumped through the Esco Electric infield back to the front stretch, and I think the Blue Blaster may be heading back to the pits.
I think you're right.
I think he's going to come around here and jump over with the Squire.
Yep, he makes the left-handed turn.
He is out. I don't know where he's going. I don't know where he's going, but he's going to have a conversation with the official when he gets back in, because he just went outside 2 course markers. And I think he just picked up and went inside that one, but he came off the race course.
Yeah, sailing along here at Tire Factory turn 2. Looks like Squire might be waiting up for him, though.
Coming down the front stretch. Budweiser on the outside, Pay and Pack on the inside. Squire Shop on the backstretch, trailing the Blue Blaster that did a funny kind of an S turn down around the bottom end of the course and went outside the course marker.
I believe that'll get him a conversation with an official. Just a quick, just a quick one. It's like,
What was that?
what'd you do?
So the boats are equidistant on both ends of the course.
Yes, you're going to have 2 heats of competition here, I guess. You got the Pan Pack on the inside of the Griffin, and then you got the other 2 boats, the Squire and the Atlas Van Lines at the top end. Interesting, of course, Chip Hanauer driving Bill Muncie's Atlas Van Lines. But He's also looking off to the side and seeing the boat he drove, the Squire Shop.
Yeah, Chip really puts his foot into it as they come across start finish. Starts to pull away a little bit from the Squire Shop, and now the Squire Shop on the inside, feathering the throttle, coming down the front stretch, and it's deck-to-deck racing as they head into All Doors Incorporated turn number 1.
What a great sight.
Oh, that it is here now as they hit that apex coming into Tire Factory, turn number 2. That arch wing, that horizontal stabilizer on Squire Shop really stands out. Such a cool looking vessel as it looks like Blue Atlas coming real wide out of that turn, sticking to the outside. But now, as they hit this backstretch, showing a little bit of speed, got the Rooster tail going and jumping ahead here by a couple boat lengths as they head down the Griggs backstretch.
Back to the front stretch. Budweiser on the outside, Pay and Pack on the inside. Great photo opportunity both sides of the river right now. That's a great shot on the backstretch with the Atlas on the outside and the Squire inside.
Love the equidistant action of the two boats on the one and the other two. Probably, before this is all said and done, they'll all hook up and do the four-way like they did yesterday.
Well, we hope so,
Let's hope so. For, photo opportunity's sake, to have these four boats together at the same time is really extraordinary. It really is.
Back over to Tire Factory turn number 2. Have a chance to see the Bud Pay and Pack over there. And they're onto the Griggs backstretch to the Muscatel Memorial start finish line with a white flag out. Chip Hanauer in the blue blaster. Atlas Van Lines on the outside. Squire Shop inside, and they are deck to deck as they head down to All Doors Incorporated turn number 1.
Yeah, looking good here. Squire Shop with that distinctive cathedral arched horizontal stabilizer. Back up at the top end of the race course, you've got that winged Pay and Pack. Quick story about that boat. When the boats were built back in the day, when they would come out, the boats would not be good right out of the box. That was extremely rare, and there was a lot of innovative stuff done with that Pay and Pack. Well, they took it down to the Miami Marine Stadium for the first race of the year in 1973. The course record was 112. Mickey Riemann put the Pay and Pack in the water, ran a lap just a tick under 120, and everybody went, wow.
That's incredible, and that Miami Stadium was built just for hydroplane racing, just for boat racing. It's amazing. There's been talks about a possible comeback. I wonder if that'll ever happen, Brad.
Well, it might happen, and you're exactly right. It was built for boat racing. The only problem was the boats got too big and too fast for that race course as far as these boats. We've had a couple of boats not be able to hold a corner on that race course and end up on the beach. And that's not a good thing. Like Steve David, who did it down in Arizona one time, said that walking home from a boat race is not necessarily a good thing.
Squire Shop, Atlas Van Lines across the Muscatel Memorial start finish line. On the backstretch, final pass, Budweiser, Pay and Pack, and they are deck to deck.
Certainly seems that way. Maybe less than half a boat length in between the two.
Well, I tell you, Chip was dancing the sponsons on the Atlas. That was pretty good. Just to finish real quick on that story about the Pay and Pack and the very fast qualifying speed. Oh, they followed it up. There were 3 preliminary heats. They took first in all 3. There was a final heat. They took first in that one, too. And so everybody knew right then that was going to be the wave of the future. That was the boat you were going to have to beat.
So back to the top end of the course and up the exit pin of White's Finished Furniture and Hardwoods, turn number 4. Budweiser and the Pay and Pack. And a photo finish across the Muscatel start-finish line.
Too close to call.
Just amazing.
It's a heater.
And 2 more coming out of turn number 4. And hello to our Buffalo Brothers friends up at turn number 4.
Love how they're doing this, the 2 and the 2. Yesterday was the 4 wide. Probably back to another 4 to 4 wide tomorrow.
And Chip Hanauer is going to lead across the start-finish line by a boat length over the Squire Shop. And a final pass down the front stretch, and they'll head back into the Neil F. Lamson pits. And the only right-hand turn number 5, Summit Funding, as they head back to the pit area. Perfect exhibition for the Unlimited Bills. Yes, Brad.
From down here, we got John Watkins, who we did not know who was behind the wheel of the Squire Shop. It's John Watkins, who is very much involved with the Hydroplane and Raceboat Museum, the restoration of this particular Squire. And this was a little bit of driver training for him. He has driven the Squire before since they've christened it, but he's never driven it alongside another boat. That's why he was on the inside of the Atlas van lines. And what better guy to lead him around the race course than Mr. Hanauer and the Blue Blaster. So I'm sure John is pretty excited. He got to go side by side for the first time.
Hotel Casino for our special coverage of the vintage boats and a chance to see some of the hydroplane history. The Blue Blaster, Atlas van lines, and Chip Hanauer had been in that boat before, and Brad Luce, I would imagine he still is.
He is. Chip is out in the Blaster. John is again aboard the Squire Shop. The Squire Shop, however, is quite a ways away from the dock right now and unable to get the candle lit. He's still trying. And actually, and still sitting at the dock here right now is David Williams in the U1, the Griffin Budweiser.
All right, so that's the pay and pack then coming down the front stretch right by Chip in the Blue Blaster Atlas van lines.
Yep.
Oh, the sound and the history. Chip down the front stretch on the outside. He's got the lead as they head to All Doors Incorporated, turn number 1.
Yeah, so an interesting story here with those two boats being together.
You can't hear, can you, Brad?
Well, at any rate, they're coming around the turn now and paying back on that inside lane. Still very close. We're looking at almost neck and neck, maybe half a boat lead, but Atlas now taking, it looks like, a bit of a run down the backstretch, vying for position, possibly jumping ahead.
They were pretty tight heading through Tire Factory turn number 2. That was amazing.
So, guys, a quick story I started to tell there with regards to those two boats. In 1976, Bill Muncie purchased that particular pay and pack that's in lane 1 going up toward the top end. He purchased that boat from Dave Herrensberger and ran it as the Atlas van lines. But when he purchased the hull, there was another hull that was there at the same time that was not yet completed, and it was a cab over, something Bill was very opposed to driving. Well, he got that boat as part of the deal. That's the boat on the outside. Eventually, Bill learned how to drive the cab over, and of course the rest is history, but those two boats came out of the same stable.
And they come down the front stretch, pay and pack on the inside. On the outside, the Atlas. And you can feel the ground shake as they pass the Muscatel Memorial start-finish line. Not just the roar that is just unbelievably throaty. What a great sound, but you can feel it through your entire body.
I just felt a surge of history go through me.
Exactly.
Just instilling memories of stuff. Just, it's cathartic. It really is. It's terrific.
Oh, definitely. Seeing a boat from 77 and a boat from 73, originally restored side by side, coming around Tire Factory turn 2 along the Griggs backstretch. Again, still running fairly even with one another, guys.
And they're starting to leg it out a little bit there on the backstretch. Of course, these are museum pieces, so nobody's going to come out here and push these things very hard. But yeah, they get them squared away with some nice water conditions, and they'll give it a little squirt and run them hard and let them rumble and roar up the backstretch. That is just very, very cool. The Squire Shop is throwing in the towel before he drifts underneath. the Blue Bridge, and David Williams in the Griffin-powered Miss Budweiser. The boat never got away from the dock. It is still here at the dock. I don't know what's wrong there. It never showed a sign of life, not one. And David has gotten out of the hull, and they're going to put that one up on the trailer. They'll have it ready to go for tomorrow, and here comes our H1 fleet now starting to get moved into the water. There, racing was coming up after the vintage, but listen to that rumble. You got him, Michael.
Yeah, they're coming down the front stretch, just past the Muscatel Memorial start-finish line. Final lap, the white flag is out as they head into All Doors Incorporated turn number 1 and over to Tire Factory number 2 on the Pasco shoreline.
Yeah, and so unfortunately it does leave us with just this two-boat race, but certainly all entertainment along the way as they both round that turn pin. Now still running close and close, but this is where that Atlas boat likes to cut it, and that's exactly what we're seeing now down along the backstretch, taking about maybe half a Rooster tail lead.
Chip is willing to put a little more foot into it, coming around the exit pin in turn number 2, the Tire Factory turn 2. And now look at the pay and pack on the inside, starting to challenge a little bit as they come up the backstretch. The Griggs Ace Hardware backstretch into our Sun Pacific Energy Shell Sun Market turn number 3. What a great sight this afternoon as we get ready for more Unlimited action. The rerun of Heat number 2 is coming up in just moments here on 610 KONA, and then the Rooster Tail wrap-up show, which will kind of highlight all the day's activities. Thanks to Frank Cooper putting that back all together back at the Legends Casino Studios. The Gravislaw Rooster Tail wrap-up show. So, final trip around the course, and look at the speed on the outside for Hanauer and the Blue Blaster. Just edging the pay and pack at the Muscatel Memorial start-finish line.
I don't think it's possible for Chip Hanauer not to put his foot into it near the end of the start-finish line. It's just not within his DNA. He's not going to take his foot out of that.
Fun to watch.
It's funny you talk about that. I was talking with Don Mock from the museum down on the dock when they went up the backstretch the last time, and he was just smiling, and I said, you can't stop smiling watching that boat. He was the crew chief on the Atlas van line. He's built about 4 copies of that thing from a radio controlled perspective. He was the crew chief on this particular Blue Blaster when they did the restoration of that one and the other Atlas van lines that Chip drove, so he knows these boats inside out and backwards. He had this big grin on his face. And I said, you love this, don't you? And he goes, Chip's starting to leg it out a little bit out there. And I said, yeah, it just gets in their blood. That was fun. We only had 2 of the 4. I can tell you David will make sure all 4 of them run tomorrow. But it's still fun.
I love Chip taking wide turn and want to give a little boat speed. He clipped him right at the line, too. It's like you just can't take that competitive Jones out of a driver.
No, you cannot.
And he wanted to wave to all the Buffalo Brothers fans up there in turn number 4.
Oh, I got to get back to work here. Bye.
3, 4. We've got the vintage hydros out on the course, Brad Luce.
Yes, you certainly do. You've got all 4 of them, too. Yesterday we had an issue with the Squire Shop not being able to get started in their last run. Yesterday afternoon we had the same issue with the Griffin. There was quite the trailer firing of the Squire Shop this morning, and we've seen small stack fires before, but this one was one of the larger ones on the trailer, but they got the Squire motor up and running. There was a big cheer that went up down here just a few moments ago when that boat fired up and came to life. Good to see all 4 of them at the top end. One little difference you will see on the Squire Shop this morning, they are running without the engine cowling, so it will look a little bit different. The profile will be same hydroplane, same great sound. And oh, by the way, guys, welcome to race day.
Same to you, Brad Luce. Good morning.
Absolutely. I'm ready to go. Are you?
Championship Sunday. Buckle up. It's going to be exciting.
Yes, it is going to be exciting. Let's make it happen. And just as we get to that point, my friend from yesterday, Miss Tri-City, shows up at the top of the tower. Doesn't get much. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great.
You ready to watch some vintage hydroplane?
Oh, yeah, we're ready.
Well, I'm a vintage guy, so this is my favorite part.
Yep, I love it too. Thrift shopping is my forte, so vintage, it's the way to go.
And there we go. Look at this sight and sound. 4 vintage Unlimiteds. Michael, that had to sound good when it came by you.
Just incredible, and what a great sight. All deck to deck to deck to deck as they head into All Doors Incorporated turn number 1. And just a perfect river for these boats to come out for their exhibition this morning as they head over to Tire Factory turn number 2.
And that's where we find myself, Derek Maselli. Always a beautiful view as they come around that turn. You got so many folks lined up on the Pasco side. They love to do it right here, right where we're situated. Seeing all 4 come across in a diagonal line around that turn now along the Griggs backstretch. Truly is a remarkable sight.
Brad.
As the boat's going to the backstretch here, I've got a special guest up here on top of the tower. I've got Steve Compton with me, who invested the better part of 5 years of his life into this hydroplane. What does it mean to you to see your work going around that race course, my friend?
What's the temperature? I got goosebumps, man. I'll tell you, this is to see those boats out there, to hear these Rolls Royce engines, 3 Merlins and a Griffin. It's just, I got goosebumps, Brad. What can I tell you, man? It's awesome.
I think you just said it all, and something else about the vintage hydroplanes being on the race course. Yesterday, watching some heats of competition, we had 3, 4, maybe 5 people up here atop the tower. I think we got about 15 up here now. People like the vintage boats. They like the rumble. They like the roar. Michael, bring them down.
All the cameras are out as the boats come across the Muscatel Memorial start-finish line. Everybody zooming in to get a shot of those 4 boats as they head down the front stretch back into All Doors Incorporated turn number 1.
You know, the fun thing is Brad invites us to bring the boats down the stretch, but with the Rolls Royce engines roaring in the background.
I didn't hear him.
What down the stretch can we bring them? It's pretty much the boats 4, broadcasters nothing.
Well, and these boats, too, these drivers, they really know how to put on a show. I mean, just to see how close and how fun all of these vintage races have been, these displays, these exhibitions, really is great. And it's great to see that Miss Budweiser back out on the track. Didn't get that last run of the day yesterday. So, again, just a phenomenal sight to see all 4 running side by side now down the Griggs backstretch.
Pay and pack.
Guys, on Friday, I gave everybody a homework assignment. I said they had to watch the final heat of the 81 Columbia Cup, which featured all 4 of these hydroplanes. So I hope everybody did your homework, because if you did, you can really better appreciate these 4 boats. And oh, by the way, Michael, before they come down to you, I took my own advice last night and we sat downstairs and rewatched the 81 final. And Hanauer still won. He just keeps winning.
Amazing race.
And people in the water were way too close.
That's one thing you notice in the foreground. There's people out there in air mattresses just floating out onto the race course. You wouldn't get away with that now, but oh boy. Enjoy it, Michael. Here they come.
White flag is out. Paying back on the inside. Atlas lane 2. Squire Shop lane 3. Budweiser lane 4. Feel the thunder. You can hear it, but you can feel it too.
Brad, would you say that's the heyday of hydroplane racing?
Well, there's people that would argue, that the 50s and the 60s was the true halcyon days, but boy, this was good stuff. And oh man, you don't know what that does to a guy like, I just talking to Steve Compton up here, and Jeff Ayler is up here from Madison, Indiana, first time out here in 30 years. And what it does to those of us who watched these boats run in the early 80s and the late 70s, this certainly was some of the best years of the sport. And that big Griffon going up the backstretch there, that boat was built by Bernie Little, and that boat was built with one purpose in mind, and that was to beat Bill Muncie in that Atlas Van Lines, and that is Bill's Blue Blaster that is out there. So there is just so much unlimited hydroplane history at the 3/4 mark of the back chute right now. For those of us that were there back in the day, it doesn't get any better than this.
Enjoy, Tri-Cities. This is a real treat for WaterFollies 2022. Benton Franklin, both sides, enjoy.
Sun Pacific Energy, Shell Sun Market, turn number 3. Buffalo Brothers, White Sun Finished Furniture and Hardwoods, turn number 4. Pay and pack right on the buoy line on the inside. That was a masterful turn.
What a great turn.
And that it's a little bit different steering on these boats, maneuverability-wise. They're cranking on the wheel.
And, of course, Hanauer is leading them over the line.
And David Williams waving to the crowd in the Miss Budweiser. Their checkered flag was out as they head down the front stretch to the only turn, number 5 on the circuit. That's the right-handed turn back into the Neil F. Lamson pits.
So who won?
Yeah, we did. We got to see it.
Oh, boy, there's the politically correct answer.
But
The votes are coming by. David Williams got that right fist way up in the air.
I think Williams might have got him at the start-finish line. Of course, Hanauer, you can't take the foot out of it. He's got to cross first, but I don't know. The Griffin Budweiser was right there as well. So, photo finish. Get your cameras out. Let us know.
Here they come. It looks like the Blue Blaster will be the first one out of the Lamson pits. And for Brad Luce and Minnie, this is what the memories are all about.
I'm sure there's plenty of folks up on that pit tower now. Huh?
Oh, yeah. Everybody. It looks like the Pay and Pack will be the second boat out.
We're really going to want to get your cameras going on this, ladies and gentlemen.
The
both
Budweiser.
sides of the river. This is a photo opportunity for sure.
Yeah, guys, I think we're going to get everybody but the Squire, so I think it's going to be a 3-boat run. I was off the tower when they did the countdown, and they said, I don't think the Squire's going to make it. I don't see him at the dock, and they're not out. So up the backstretch, you got the Blue Blaster Atlas Van Lines, 73 Pay and Pack, and that mighty 1980 Griffin Bud.
Over at Tire Factory, turn number 2, you're seeing the rooster tail from the Griffin Bud, Derek Maselli.
Yeah, hey, at least we got to see that Squire Shop in all 4 in action a couple times earlier this weekend. It really doesn't get much better than seeing those 4 go side by side. But hey, these 3 will be really fun here still to watch.
Guys, I'm just made it up to the top of the tower here. I've mentioned a couple of times that my broadcast partner from back east has come out here. He's in the Tri-Cities for the first time in
Jeff
30.
Ayler.
Jeff Ayler, the man, the myth, the legend. He's here. And Jeff, I know you're a big fan of boat racing, as am I. And what does it do to you to see these vintage boats on the water?
Well, Brad, like you and I saw them back in the day, but never in this future configuration as vintage. These were the trendsetters from 1973 to 1980. The Pay and Pack in 73, the Blue Blaster in 77, the Griffin Bud in 80. That is kind of what I call that second phase of hydro fever from the 50s and 60s. These were the second trendsetters.
Yeah, Derek, I think you had that comment earlier. Was this the halcyon days? Well, and Jeff maybe said it best, kind of the resurgence of it of the second time. But Michael McDonald coming across the line. They're all 3 hooked up. And of course, Michael couldn't hear a darn thing because
No, I got you, Brad.
Okay, there you go.
I got you.
They're coming down here now. Jeff Ayler got that Griffin Bud. Oh, he's staying way wide, but man, it's loud.
Beautiful sight. David Williams does such a great job driving that Griffin Bud. You can tell even in vintage he's got some more ponies than the other two to the inside, but great to see the Blue Blaster back out here. Look at that yellow helmet inside the Blue Blaster. 2013 PBA Gold Cup winner Kip Brown driving the Blue Blaster. Brad talked to Kip before, and it's just gives him shivers every time he gets in that boat.
Yeah, he said he really loves it. I asked him what it was like to step over the cockpit and over the name of Bill Muncie on the side, and boy, to a boat racer doesn't get much bigger and or better than that. I think Jeff maybe said it best there when he said these boats, all three of them, when they hit the water, they were the state of the art of the sport. They were, if you asked what the fastest boat was on the circuit, it was that boat in its time. Michael McDonald, top end of the race course, got that beautiful Winged Wonder 73 pan pack in lane 1. Griffin on the outside. Muncie's Blaster in the middle, bring them down.
All three boats deck to deck to deck at the exit pin of our White's Finished Furniture and Hardwoods turn number 4 over by the Buffalo Brothers group, and I'm sure they're all at the shoreline right now either taking video or snapping a photo, because this is something you just don't get to see every day. And now across the Muscatel start-finish line, the boat speed is on the outside with the Griffin Bud. David Williams will lead the boats down the front stretch.
Wow. Wow is about all of a certain vintage. That's all we can say. It's just so good. Oh, my. When that was Chenoweth on the outside and Muncie just inside of him, and Mickey Riemann and George Henley in the inside lane. Wow, back in the day. Derek, you like that?
Oh, yeah. One thing to see, another thing to hear. I'm just enamored by the sound of these engines as they go roaring by. It's that Blue Atlas marginally in the lead, but here comes the Budweiser boat out on the outside now, giving him a run for his money.
Well, it kind of takes any guesswork out of the equation why they call these things the Thunderboats.
As they thunder up the Griggs Ace Hardware backstretch, the pay and pack looks really good. It's a shame that the Squire Shop couldn't make it out here for a final time.
It really is, because as we've talked all weekend, and I gave everybody the homework assignment, they had to go home and watch that 81 final heat here in the Tri-Cities, and we did our part last night. We watched it, and of course the winner that day was Chip Hanauer in the Squire Shop, and unfortunately he couldn't answer the bell here, or that boat couldn't, but boy, it's not taking anything away from this show.
And David Williams has done a really nice job on the outside, staying towards the outer course markers so everybody could get a good look at that Budweiser Griffin, the U1. It's coming down the front stretch, Blue Blaster in the middle, and then on the inside in lane number 1, the pay and pack. Coming down to all doors, turn number 1.
Yeah, here they come one more time. And you're right, David's kept that Griffin up against the insurance marker pretty much the whole weekend. And Kip is staying right with him on the outside, leaving quite a bit of room, although they tightened it up a little bit on the pay and pack this time. But one more time, Derek. Right there.
Oh, yeah. They've tightened it almost in unison. All three taking that turn in stride together, just as close as they've been pretty much all race long. We're starting to see that Miss Budweiser boat on the outside perhaps inch forward, maybe just half a boat length or so, as they now work their way down the Griggs backstretch.
You know, David Williams has that Bud in the same position we see Jimmy Shane in the home street. And he's got the boat speed and he's got the skill to get around and probably claim the victory for this unlimited vintage heat. And our coverage thanks to Legends Casino and Hotel on KONA.
Hey, Brad, if you've still got your guest down there in the pits, ask, I'd like to get your thoughts about this too, Bill Muncie, when you're talking about crawling over the top into the cockpit over that name, Bill Muncie, the linchpin driver, it seems like, of the sport. What made him so good?
Well, he was just such a competitor. He never felt that he was out of any race. You always had to make, as drivers used to say, you had to make 3 plans for Bill Muncie. There was what you thought he was going to do, what he had done in the past, but then there was what he was really going to do. You never knew where he was going to come from. Yes, for the most part of his career, he had very good equipment, but he knew how to handle it. He also, and oh, Jeff is just dying to talk here. Don't worry, Jeff, I'll get your comment here. But the other piece I want to say about Bill Muncie was he was probably the largest ambassador the sport ever had, and apparently I just stepped in Jeff's mud puddle. That's what you were going to say, Jeffy?
You read my mind, Brad. Bill was not only the dynamic driver, but a tremendous promoter of the sport of unlimited hydroplane racing. He would drive boats and also do TV and radio broadcasts at the same events.
Oh, wow.
Like 1971, working for ABC's Wide World of Sports with Keith Jackson, and he'd done numerous other ABC sports events as well when they were on Wide World of Sports. Such the promoter, Rollins College graduate, and also, too, a good musician as well.
He was. I remember him playing in the Seattle pit area with Barney Armstrong's machine. And when the Atlas Van Lines had to pull out of the 1981 Gold Cup in Seattle, he was a Chip Hanauer fan in the Squire. He started wearing Chip Hanauer's stuff. He started wearing a Chip Hanauer shirt. And you're picking stuff off my head now. Apparently I got bugs coming on. But when Hanauer's boat was unable to make the final, they went out and represented them as best they could. He was the promoter. He was so good with sponsors and never turned down an interview.
Exactly, Brad. And wanted to mention the pay and pack. Dave Herensberger's passed away in recent years, and he was just such a dynamic owner as well. And of course, from 1978 to 88, the pay and pack boat was in the hands of Miss Madison. And 1988 was the debut of the 5th Miss Madison hydroplane right here in Tri-Cities, built and designed by Ron Jones. Such history with these 4 vintage Unlimiteds here this weekend. It's a shame we didn't see the Squire Shop out here on the last run of the weekend, but what a beautiful restoration job by the team at Harm with the Squire. It looks exactly like it appeared in Madison at its first event in '79 at the Gold Cup.
1979 Gold Cup. It was raining that day. Oh, by the way, you guys, I don't know if anybody's listening. This is what Jeff and I are like at dinner every night. We just get started about boat racing and we just go on.
No, it's good radio, gentlemen. That's good radio.
I think they're liking it, Jeff. We're having it. Oh, he's ready to go again. Here he goes. What do you got?
One more and I'll quit, Michael.
Oh, no, you're fine. I would like to host you for dinner because nobody has to cook. You're talking all the time.
And Mike's his ice cream sandwich is starting to melt up here. So please, you have the floor.
With the '81 Columbia Cup, Hanauer made that move, snuck inside Chenoweth in the Bud, and about 11 months later done the same maneuver at the '82 Gold Cup when Chip drove the Atlas and defeated Dean Chenoweth and the Budweiser in that miraculous wild-looking boat ride on the back chute in that brand new '82 Atlas. And then Chip went on the victory, and history tells itself.
History tells itself after that, and I don't think anybody who ever saw it will ever forget that run down the backstretch. It's the part of legends and lore of H1 Unlimited hydroplane racing. We could go on for a long, long time, but as Jeff Ayler just said, let's give one more shout out to David William and the Hydroplane and Raceboat Museum, the board of directors down there, all of the volunteers. And if you think that would be fun to be part of that, you do not need to have any knowledge or any experience in working on these hydroplanes. They will find something that you can do. And Jeff, you're nodding your head. I am living proof of that. I went down there at a time when I was looking for something to get me involved with and keep me off the streets at night, if you will. And I went down and got involved in the restoration. It wound up with a 150-mile-an-hour boat ride on Lake Chelan one time in the '67 Budweiser. And anybody that's listening to this, you can go do that too. Get a hold of the Hydroplane and Raceboat Museum in Kent, Washington.
And Brad, nobody more well-deserving than you, working on the '67 Budweiser and getting a ride in it. That's just such a beautiful boat. It's flat out phenomenal on that craft. But coming up later, we've got a great Grand Prix America heat coming up, and of course the H1 Unlimited final, and we still got work to do, or you do. I'm going to take a break.
He's going to go down and get something cold to drink. So anyway, guys, we'll toss it back up. Jeff and I, needless to say, we put the headsets on and get a couple of mics. We have a pretty good time.
Hey, thanks again. That was amazing.
Yeah, you guys are welcome. Jeffy, thanks, bud.
Jeff Ayler, thank you so much for coming.